Hey boys and girls, I'm going to do part 2 of the aluminum relief project, which is kind of the cool part, the fun part. I'm going to take my drawing that I made and I'm going to put it onto this piece of aluminum paper here. It's just like an aluminum pop can. It's kind of thick, so it's pretty easy to cut you if you're not careful, so you don't want to like rub your hand around the edges where it's sharp. I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to put it on top here and I'm going to tape it on top of it, and as best you can. It's okay if you cover up some of your drawing. You can still trace those spots, but you just definitely want it to be kind of held in place. And then a relief is something that involves things that are coming out and things that are being pressed back. So it has that kind of visual texture to it. And we're going to do this by kind of carving it in on both sides to have that relief where it's not only are we carving in, but we're having things pushed back out. The very first thing I'm going to do is trace some of my bigger things with this stylus tool. Stylus tool just looks just like a pencil, but it is a pencil without any lead. It's just one big piece of wood basically sharpened like a pencil. And I have here something cushy. You need to have, these are just some, like fake pieces of leather. I always like to have kind of like two things like that. A towel or something like that would work, just to give it that give. And for now, I'm not pressing really hard while I'm drawing on my picture. So the first thing I'm going to do is really just outline my big shapes, which is basically my buildings and kind of those first things. All the little details I'm going to hold off on for now. Just the big things that I was tracing. So the first things that I drew. I'm getting a lot of pencil lead on my hand. I can tell. I'm kind of, don't worry about if you, oh my gosh, yeah. Don't worry about if your paper looks smudgy, because you're going to probably discard this. We're not even going to use this. You could color it at the end if you want to, but it's not the big bit of artwork that we're doing. So, and I'm pressing with a little pressure, but I'm not pressing so hard that my pencil is going to pop through my paper. That's something to kind of keep in mind. So like that. And I think I'm going to outline my doorways real quick, and then I'm going to stop. Once you are all done getting these things traced, you're going to kind of take your paper, just going to do this part right here. You're going to take your paper like this and you're going to flip it up and take a look. And you should be able to see that there's a little indentation of your city that you started here. I'm not going to take this paper all the way off, but for now I'm going to flip it over to the back. And I want to spend a minute making sure I'm definitely on this cushion while I'm doing this, and I'm going to press this in harder. Now the key of pressing this in is whenever you have big lines, long lines, is to pull towards you. If you put it down and push, sometimes people's momentum is to push down as they're pushing away, and then they can pop holes in the aluminum. But you could get a hole anyway, and if you do, it's just a sign that you're pressing a little too hard. So a lot of times what I like to do is kind of like start off medium and maybe even trace it a little bit like that. And if you could feel this, you would really feel that indentation. So all of these lines that I just traced, I want to outline. And I always like to turn it and have it like for longer lines where I'm not drawing side to side. Like even like this, I'm going to turn this way so that I can get the triangle without my stylus tool kind of skipping on me. Sometimes they do that where they just kind of bump and make a line that you don't want. And don't worry if that happens. There's ways to hide those things, because there really isn't a way to erase a line that you've just dug in. It's there. But if you are finding that when you're outlining, if you're cutting through more than once, then really back off a little bit and just kind of go over your lines a couple of times. And this is a project where I really insist on the right pressure. So if you are, if you come to me and show me yours, and it could be an amazing design, and most of them are, I would definitely make you go back and trace things if things were not pressed in hard enough, because it makes a huge difference in the end when everything is pressed in really well. So I'm just going to do this last city building right here, and I'm going to skip the other two for now because I want to show you the next part, and I think you kind of know how this is going now. So I have this, and if I'm going to definitely want to, anything I pressed in, I have to retrace on this side. But if I wanted to look at my drawing and press back on some things, like for example this, on my drawing I have those straight lines here, and that's just a simple pattern. So what I can do is flip this over on this side where I already pressed that in and do my lines this direction on the other side. Everybody needs to have some lines pressed in on really both sides. And then when I flip this back here, I don't know if you can tell, but it really looks like it's popping out now. So that can be a really cool look. Now, if I flip this over, I'm just going to focus in on this one city building right here. I think I really do want to outline this on the front. And I think I'm even going to do this part. But the other stuff I'm going to do on the other side. Yeah. So this part I'm going to outline here. Nice and straight. Some of these lines can get away from you. And you don't want to take the paper off until you're really done tracing things that you want to trace on the front. But once you've traced all the things you want to trace in the front, and please don't trace everything. You really don't want to trace everything. And if you're not sure if you've retraced, all you have to do is just kind of rub and feel. So, okay, so I know that I did those triangles on this section, the curve, all that. So now I'm going to flip over to this side. Even though the tape's there, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this, this, this. And then I believe I did, yep. I'm going to do this little, oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, let's see. There we go. That one had the curve with the straight line. Comes out here. This is where your hand's gonna get tired. I can already tell. I'm gonna stretch a little bit. And then this one, I did the box on the inside. So I think I'm going to, you can't draw it solid. You kind of got to jump all the spots that you pressed back, and I'm pressing them forward. That'll be kind of a cool look here in a minute. And then I know that there's that, I think this line I'm probably going to trace in the front, since it kind of goes with every building, I should say. So let me see, that's there. And I had the corners, or no, I think that was about it, the stripes on this one. Oh no, I think I did that wrong actually. Oh, I did something a little quirky there. Oh well, that's okay. And then if I wanted to do some curves here, maybe even an extra one. This is where you can get creative. If you want to add some things, you can add them. Even if they're not on your drawing, you can be creative with that. So now when I pull this up, hopefully you can see that this really has that kind of multi-dimensional look to it. Things are coming up and things are going back. And I'm just going to work on that on all of my buildings. You want to take the time to get all those details in, pressed in well, because when we get to the coloring part, we're going to be coloring with some colored Sharpie. It really looks neat when everything is, you've got that multi-dimensional kind of look. So I cannot wait to see what you do. Good luck, and hopefully your hands don't get too tired.